Hello, and welcome to 12-Minute Meditation, a weekly podcast from Mindful that offers mindfulness meditations backed by neuroscience. Research shows that just 12 minutes of meditation a day can yield benefits like increased attention, focus, creativity, calm, resilience, and compassion. So on this podcast, we invite you to explore 12-minute guided meditations from today's leading mindfulness experts. I'm Siri Myram, editor at Mindful. Our brains learn through a process that has three components: trigger, behavior, and reward. Together, these behaviors form what is known as a habit loop. In today's meditation, Dr. Jud Brewer walks us through a practice to notice triggers, when they're happening, and how they make us feel. When we pay attention to these triggers, we can respond to ourselves with more compassion. Dr. Jud Brewer is a New York Times bestselling author and thought leader in the field of habit change and the science of self-mastery, who blends over 20 years of experience with mindfulness training and a career in scientific research. He is the Director of Research and Innovation at Brown University's Mindfulness Center. Ready to practice? Here's Jud Brewer.
Our minds learn through this three-step process. There's a trigger that triggers a certain behavior, that's step two, and then there's this reward that feeds back and drives future behavior. I use the example of somebody smoking a cigarette. Somebody gets stressed out, that's the trigger. They go to smoke a cigarette, that's the behavior, and then the reward is this brief relief that they get from the smoke break. Now, eating is very interesting. This habit loop structure was actually set up as a way to help us remember where food is. When we are out in the proverbial tundra and our brains have to learn where food sources are, we're looking around and we see a food source. Let's say it's some berries or it's something else that's nutritious. That's the trigger. Then we go and eat it and we try the food, and if it gives us some calories and it's tasty and it doesn't taste dangerous, that behavior leads to a result. Our stomach sends this dopamine signal up to our brain that says, remember what you ate and where you found it. Now, it's interesting, in today's modern world, there are food sources everywhere. There are fast food chains, there are grocery stores, there's plenty of food. So our brains don't necessarily need this reward-based learning system to be set up to help us remember where food is. But in fact, the system is still at play. And so what does it learn to do? Well, it learns to start associating certain behaviors and certain moods and certain other types of triggers with eating. For example, if we get stressed out and we learn to eat ice cream, we might feel a little bit better. And so our brain starts to learn to eat when we're stressed out. Or all the different celebrations that we've had over the years, whether it's a birthday or another holiday, we learn to associate a celebration with eating food and then feeling good. And so if we're kind of down or even bored, our brain says, you know what, let's go celebrate. Let's check out what's in the kitchen and eat something. And so we start to form habits around eating, whether it's celebratory habits or whether it's stress-based or boredom or sadness types of habits. All of these drive that same type of reward-based learning. And of course, our brain just says, well, that was good, do it again. And so we do. Let's explore specifically any types of habits that we might have formed around eating. Are you ready? Let's get started. So find a comfortable position, whether it's sitting, standing, lying down, and simply begin again by anchoring your awareness in your body. Now, this is really important. It's kind of like an anchor that keeps our boat from floating off. If the wind blows and the boat starts to drift, that anchor catches so that we can come back. This helps to orient us, and in the same way it helps to orient us around our minds. If our minds are constantly drifting off this way or that way, it's really hard to map out these habit loops around them. And it's also really hard to map out the different types of rewards that we get. So once you've found this position, simply rest in awareness in the breath or the body. Really anchoring awareness in our direct experience. What do these physical sensations feel like? And now simply bring to mind your favorite comfort food, whether it's ice cream or chocolate or cupcakes or whatever. Simply bring that food item to mind. You might imagine what it smells like, what it tastes like. You might imagine what the quality of the sensation of the food is like on your tongue or in your mouth, whether it's cool, whether it's soft and delicate, whether it's crunchy. And now notice the type of reaction that your body has simply from bringing this memory up. What does this feel like in your body? You might even notice that you have a craving to eat this food, even if you've just eaten a meal or aren't hungry at all. And notice if you're really craving that food right now. See what this craving itself feels like in your body and in your mind. Are there physical sensations associated with it? Simply get curious and dive into your direct experience right now to see what that feels like. And see if you can notice, in particular, the changing sensations associated with craving, or anything else that's in your body right now, if that craving's not that strong. Is it tightness? And does that tightness change? Is there heat? Does that heat move? Or any other particular sensations? What happens as you bring that awareness directly to those sensations? And if that craving fades away, simply bring your awareness back to your body or your breath. And now we'll bring this little exercise to an end. So if you noticed, simply bringing a memory of a food item to mind can bring up cravings for us. And if you might have also noticed that bringing awareness to the craving itself can change our relationship to it. We can be with that craving rather than being caught up in it. If we're caught up in a craving, it's just like being on autopilot driving in reverse. But if we're aware of that craving, we're starting to move forward. We're driving in first gear. So this week, your mission, should you choose to accept it, might be to notice any types of food cravings. See if in those moments you can drop into your body, and even for a few moments, just really explore what that craving itself feels like. And as you bring your awareness to that craving, see if it changes. See if it changes from moment to moment to moment. And you might go ahead and eat the food, or you might not. But simply start by exploring and getting comfortable and becoming really familiar with what that craving feels like. That part of the habit loop, that trigger, and then that urge to act right before you act, and then whether you act or not. That behavior, and then the result of whatever that behavior is.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of 12-Minute Meditation from Mindful. I hope you enjoyed practicing with us today. Sign up for our free newsletter at mindful.org/signup and If you'd like to explore additional related content and meditations, check the show notes for links.